educated within our system, and that's why so many doctors and nurses are not getting it. But they know, and so that's why they're not going to take it. I'll quit. I'll quit. You know, you got National Guard replacing people who are not even mandated to get it until next year, and yet they're replacing our nurses and doctors with these National Guard,
Yeah.
you know, in the hospitals, and even FEMA is replacing, and they're not even mandated to get it. But I have a list here of groups that are actually exempted from getting the vaccine. What's so interesting is that they must feel the same way we do. All of Congress, now they want you to get it, they want you to get it, but they're exempted, right?
Oh man.
All of Congress plus congressional staff and Senate are not mandated to get the vaccine.
What's that
right?
about now?
6,000 White House employees are not mandated to get the vaccine, right? So Biden's up there putting all these mandates. Meanwhile, his own staff and his White House, they're not mandated. They don't have to get it if they don't want to get it. 2,500 Pfizer employees are not mandated to get the vaccine. 1,500 Moderna employees, and 120,000 of which one was it? There's Pfizer, Moderna. What's the third?
Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson. I believe it's Johnson and Johnson is not mandated to get the 120,000 employees. Now let's bring in the other agencies, ABC agencies, we'll call them. 15,000 CDC employees do not have to get the CDC. They're telling you that you have to get it. They don't have to get it.
Double standard stuff right there, man.
What's happening here, Lee? This thing just went down. Okay, we're still recording. All right. Anytime we talk about this, I don't know. There's too much information. The computer's gonna blow up. 15,000 CDC employees don't have to get it, and 14,000 FDA employees don't have to get it. And I believe, and I don't know, I believe that they want the undocumented immigrants to get it, but on this list it says 2 million undocumented immigrants don't have to get it. I don't know if that's true. I would imagine that they want to do whatever they're doing to the undocumented immigrants just as much as they want to do to everybody else, right? And also, I guess, I don't know, it says on this list 500,000 homeless and street people. I don't know what that's about. Also, there's a story recently, a Denver police officer was injured and crippled and has trouble walking. His name is Jose Manriquez after getting the first jab. I also find this is interesting. Maybe the Reverend will want to say something about this, but Governor Kathy Hochul preached from a pulpit in Brooklyn on Sunday. This was a couple of weekends ago, that citizens should be thankful to God for the COVID-19 vaccines, which she claimed were divinely inspired. And she also had said something about that she wanted the members of the congregation to act as her apostles, to go out and to promote the vaccine on the unvaccinated.
The last time I checked, Jesus Christ is your savior.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I didn't see no syringe in his hand at the Last Supper, or a syringe in his hand when he went onto the cross.
Right.
There was no syringes involved. And if you're going to make apostles, it's about spreading the good news. See, a lot of people, when Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John, when it says good news, it's about a God who came on this earth to do miracles, and that became good news. So whenever we do anything that is positive, that brings encouragement, that brings joy, that brings peace, that brings unity, any of the characteristics under unconditional love and full of grace, that is good news. See, that's the good news that we're called to bring forth. And so that is right there. You're playing with the word blasphemy. Just comes out of my mouth. It's very blasphemous. It's something where you're playing as God in a way that is dangerous. And it's kind of like when the vice president said, it's getting this vaccine is equivalent to loving your neighbor. Just like the Word of God says. I just don't feel comfortable with that. There's something going on. You know what's crazy, and this is probably going to be very wild of me to say this. I heard, the word pharmacy, right, also derives from the word sorcery. You know, and there was even a preacher who said there's even a demonic dimension when it comes to this COVID-19. That there's something, concoction, things you mix in, things that you put together, potions. And so I think that's an interesting point of view. You know, if you're trying to break down the body, if you're trying to cause chaos, you know, disunity, dissension, you know, melting pot, a little bit of hell on earth, you know, and then there's a few people here who get to prosper and live the best life and control. I don't know, that just to me doesn't sound right and sounds very wrong. But I don't know if you were finished with what you were saying of why you have chosen not to take it. And I don't know if Jeff wants to come in and say anything, but I'm really curious to hear the reason of your choices, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I chose not to take it. My son chose not to take it. He's 11 years old because he sees everything that's going on. And, you know, it's just, he pays very close attention. He's a very observative kid. And, you know, I explained to him, you know, what's in this vaccine. And if anybody tries to force you to take this vaccine, don't take the vaccine at any cost.
Yeah, it's crazy
And
what
so
they're doing in the schools, because in
Yeah.
the schools they're saying you don't need parental consent, right? Some BS
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like how is an 11-year-old going to protect himself, defend himself, you know?
And they just approved
Yeah.
from
Go ahead.
ages
Five.
5 on up
they
this
did?
vaccine.
Wow.
And I don't believe in that at all. You know, they didn't force any other vaccine like this. They didn't, you know, say, hey, let me give you $100, take this vaccine. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be a lab rat. Neither is my child.
Take me on Chuck E. Cheese for free.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
And
I'm sorry to laugh about it, but it's like we're
It's
getting
crazy,
to,
it's crazy, you're
you know,
right.
free pass to some, I don't know, Disney World. I don't know. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
and how many people know what graphene oxide is?
Yeah, I
Tell me a little
talk
bit
about
more.
it. I had originally was researching that, but I've been hit with so much that I forgot. But I know it's like really bad shit.
It's a hard compound that shouldn't even enter the body. And that's what's the reason for all of the blood clots that are happening.
Right.
And, you know, with the ethanol oxide, that doesn't enter the blood body either. And that's not supposed to be in the body. And, you know, people that, there's a difference between the white cotton swab tests and then the yellow ones. The yellow ones contain the
graphene oxide.
no,
Oh,
the
I
ethanol
think that-
oxide.
The ethanol oxide.
Yeah, the graphene oxide is in the shots.
In the shot. Okay.
And there's a website. It's actually a government website. I think it's ccamp.org or no, ccamp.gov. And if you go on there, look under patents. There's Rothschild Project, and all of this came out in 2015 with COVID-19, and also all the COVID vaccines packages are all posted in 2018.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
all premeditated.
and Rothschild
Premeditated.
is one of the biggest financial institutions in the world.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, even the CARES Act, I believe, which was all of like the funding that they were giving to all these people, like when COVID started, that was all written like in 2019, in the beginning of 2019. So it's almost like they were planning. This was in a planning stage. But there's another very hypocritical thing that I saw from our mainstream media. There's the podcast guy, Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan, he got COVID, and then he healed himself by taking the ivermectin, right? Which ivermectin, he got it from a doctor for humans, right? But like the mass media was saying, oh, Joe Rogan did this crazy thing. He took this ivermectin. He's taking horse paste, right? Ivermectin is something that's been used for like 40 or 50 years. It won a Nobel Prize in 2015 for it's because it kills parasites in the human.
Yeah.
It was actually created for humans, and then after it was created for humans, it was used for animals to help animals, right? And the media just went crazy saying that he's taking horse paste, which was such ridiculous, right?
And now you can't find it.
And so then he gets Sanjay Gupta on there, and if people should really watch this clip. Joe Rogan had Sanjay Gupta from CNN, and he's saying, "How do you feel about your network lying?" And Sanjay Gupta like, "Whoa, humana." He looked like something like Ralph Cramden, like from The Honeymoon. He didn't know what to say. Like he had like totally lost it. And Joe Rogan said, "I don't want to go any further. I don't want to pass this subject to how do you feel about your network lying?" And then he said, "Well, what exactly did they say, Joe?" And they said, that I was taking horse medicine. Right? I was taking horse medicine. I'm not taking that. Well, then he goes, "Oh, they shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't have said that." And then he said, "Well, did you ever think, like, why didn't you ask them, like, why they were doing that?" Like, and then he said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, don't you think you should have asked him? You're the medical guy. You're the medical guy on CNN. You're the head guy, So he totally squashed Sanjay Gupta. He totally squashed CNN on this issue. But it just goes to show ivermectin's helping people. The hydrochloroquine, I don't know how to say it right, but that was helping Trump, and that's helped a lot of other people. And actually, the stuff that is actually helping people is being not allowed to be, taken. Hold on 1 second.
That's your fans.
Yeah,
That's the
all them,
government.
right? But that